Good morning, students. I hope you all are fine. Back to online classes due to bad weather conditions. Today I will take class of class 7 and going to start a chapter 19, which is clauses. Already we have studied about phrases in the last class. Have a quick revision on it. Whenever we are making a phrases or clauses, from where we are beginning? We are beginning from our letters. By the joining of the letters, what we are making? We are making words. And from the group of the words, what we can create? We can create phrases or clauses. Already phrases means already we have a study which is not giving a complete sentence. Basically, it is an incomplete sentence. And what is the kind of a clauses? So we will start with the definition. Please take out your book and chapter number 19, take a page number 118. Chapter number 19. Clauses, page number 180. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a finite verb. It means whenever we are studying about clause, we are indicating with subject plus verb. A clause can be a part of the sentence or a sentence by itself. In the previous class, we studied about phrases, which is defining with subject where there is no verb. That is conducted as a condition of phrases. But whenever we are learning about clause, it means whenever there will be a subject plus verb form, it is dedicated to the category of clause. A clause can be a part of sentence or a sentence by itself. It means a clause is having a complete meaning, but it is not a complete sentence. There will be the combination of subject plus verb. That's only called a clause. Just take an example. The girl who is standing there is my friend. Now, who is standing there? This is your clause and it is a part of a sentence which is helping to complete the sentence. So now we can see what the subject and verb in this group of words. Who is standing there? Who is your subject? Is your helping verb. So we got a subject also and we got a verb also. That's why this group of words is coming in the category of clause, because in this words we find the subject and verb also. The boy is eating a vegetable sandwich. Sentence by itself. It means it is a simple sentence which is sentencing for itself only, for him only, for her only, or for it only. Okay, it means it is giving a complete meaning. It means it is already having a combination of subject plus verb. Now we can see what are the characteristics of clauses. Okay, starting with number 1, it has a subject and a finite verb. Already we have studied in the starting that whenever there will be a subject and verb, it is dedicated to the clause. So the first point is it has a subject and a finite verb. It can be a sentence by itself or be a part of a sentence itself. Either the sentence, it can be a complete meaning which is giving and it is called a phrases. It is coming in the category of a sentence by itself, or it can be a part of sentence which is helping to complete the sentence. Is that clear? Okay. It can stand on its own and make complete sense, but not always. Now the third point is it wants to say that it can stand on its own. Sometimes the sentence can stand on its own. Sometimes the sentence can make by itself. But it can make a complete sense also. It can make a complete meaning also. But not always, not the all time. Respectively, very rarely it is coming that the sentence by itself can give you a complete meaning plus complete sense plus complete sentence. But most of the time the clauses is using as a part of a sentence which is helping to complete the sentence. The next point is the types of clauses, which is a main clause and subordinate clause. It is defining basically as a main clause. To a main clause we can say an independent clause also, and it gives a complete meaning. We can say that main clause is also known as independent clause. And it gives a complete meaning, which I have written here. It is little bit unable to see. Okay. Main clause has a subject and a finite verb and makes complete sense by itself. To main clause, which we can say that it is also known as independent clause. Basically, we know the meaning of independent and dependent, as well as its opposite. A subordinate clause is also known as dependent clause, and it has incomplete ideas or an incomplete sense, you can say. Okay, so basically the very simple way to learn this, or very simple way to understand this, the main clause is also known as dependent clause and a subordinate clause is also known as dependent clause. It means dependent, in which we are depending on someone else. Okay, it means that only. It means whatever the subordinate clause sentences are there, it is dependent on main clause. It means it is dependent on independent independent clause. That's why it has a finite verb and subject, but does not make complete sense on its own. It depends on the main clause for its meaning. For completing its meaning, for completing its sentence, the subordinate clause is totally dependent on whom? On the independent clause. And independent means in which we don't need anyone. We can do the things by itself. We can do the work by our own. So main clause has a subject and a finite verb and makes a complete sense by itself. That's why it is called independent clause, and subordinate clause needs a help from independent clause. That's why it is called a dependent clause. Now quickly we will see the examples. Okay, look at the sentences. Just like a Vivek loves chips if they are crisp. Okay, Susan likes hot and sure soup when she goes out for dinner. Okay, I know the doctor who lives in Basant Nagar. The underlined words in each sentence have subjects and finite verbs. It means it is talking about the clauses. Wherever in the sentence we got the subject also, we got the verb also, it is a part of the clause. Okay, and make complete sense by themselves. They are main clauses. The italicized sections have subjects and finite verbs of their own. Italicized sections, this is our italicized sections. Okay, and it is italicized sections and it have subjects and finite verbs of their own. However, they depend on the rest of the sentence to make complete sense. They are subordinate clause. It means whatever the italicized words are there, italicized group of words are there, it calls a subordinate clause. It means it has a dependent clause which is depending on whom? On independent clause. So the underlined words are called here main clause, which is independent clause, and the italicized words which is subordinate clause, dependent clause, which is depending on whom? On independent clause. We studied three things today about clauses and its types: main clause, subordinate clause. The clauses where we have studied, whenever in the group of words there should be a subject plus verb, it is coming in the category of clauses. Main clause, subordinate clause. Main clause is your independent clause and subordinate clause is your dependent clause. So basically in independent clause we don't need anyone to help. We can do the things by itself, and in dependent clause we need someone to help us, just like a subordinate clause need a help from main clause to complete the sentence and making its complete meaning. So thank you so much. I hope you all understand about the clauses and its main clause and its subordinate clause. I hope you understand today's topic. Revise it well at home. Thank you so much. Soon we will meet in the next class.